Serious people who like their job. What do you do? Park ranger. I work for the National Park Service. I started off seasonal and got to visit 6 different national parks, getting paid to live people's vacation and be in most beautiful places. Now I'm settled permanently on the National Mall where I get to work with special events, getting to see firsthand all the amazing events that go on in Washington DC and be a part of it all. Wow, this is my dream job / what I'm in school to do. Out of curiosity, did you go to grad school? I've seen that a master's degree is highly recommended and I'm debating whether or not I should apply this fall. I think up and draw cartoons every day. A syndicated comic for newspapers. Only learned to draw at age 43, so it's been a cool midlife turn. I'm one of those handful of people trying to be at least a fraction of what Gary Larson was / Oh wow, you have just made my day. I just started taking drawing lessons at age 48. Would love to somehow make it into a kid's book. I have the ideas and the characters. Just need to draw them. All the best to you. I know the feeling. I've heard it said the best time to start is when you're 20. The second best time is tomorrow. Well, here's another saying I heard. Today is the second best day to start something, the best being yesterday. It's never too late. The way I heard it was out tree planting. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. I make replicas of dinosaur fossils for museum display. The company I work for does full-sized replicas, but I primarily work in the division that creates teeth and claw replicas and a few scaled down skull replicas for gift shops. Mon dude, all the other comments are asking as to how you got into that. Spill the beans. Seaplane pilot, charters, sightseeing, flying fishing, and seaplane flight training. I'm a locomotive engineer. It's badass controlling thousands of horsepower and tons all with my hands. I love running with the window open, listening to the power working and waving at people when they wave with more than one finger. I'm in my late 30s and still get excited to give you guys and gals a wave. Trains are super cool. Thanks for waving. I always try to wave back. It's nice seeing people happy to see us. Usually they are mad that we are in the way or honking the horn. I'm a night shift worker at a manufacturing facility. I love being able to set all my machines, read a book, or play on my 3DS, and be by myself. Once all my machines are set, I just need to change finished parts for new blanks every 15 to 20 minutes. That sounds awesome. I did computer operator in a data center for 4 years on third shift, 12 AM to 8 AM. 99% of it was watching YouTube and waiting 15 minutes between throwing more paper into a large data center printer. Day went by fast, dealt with no people, and learned a lot through reading while on the shift. I'm a speech therapist working with stroke patients. I love rehab. I tried pediatrics, but it was not my thing. Rehab is for me. I was scrolling to find this. I'm also an SLP working in rehab / acute care. Although our profession is greatly misunderstood, I love working with brain injuries and giving families education. We help people when they are at their lowest, and that's enough for me. Can't thank you all enough. My father had a massive stroke when I was a kid, and I'll never forget those moments in the rehab center spent with him recovering. Makes you appreciate conversations and interaction so much more. Went from able to have a conversation to never being able to fully understand what my father wants to say. He'll say phrases and can say a handful of words, but it's his frustration that upsets me. In his mind he knows it, but it just can't come out. But at the same time, there are those other stroke patients who any form of interaction is lost completely. I'm appreciative of being able to interact with him in this capacity and appreciative of the work you all do dealing with this whole spectrum. Matte painter for film. It's fun and lives at the intersection between having to have artistic talent and technical experience. Honestly, sometimes it can be maddening as I come from a creative background, traditional illustration and sculpture, so certain programs are like going from speaking French to speaking Chinese. But all in all, it's fun to see your work when it's composited into a film and get to see the shots before any VFX goes in. Frankly, it's surprising just how many movies use VFX, and I can assure you it's almost everything you've seen, including smaller independent films. I knew there were VFX in nearly everything. I didn't realize that matte painting was still done. I assume it's digital at this point. Yeah, it's super common. Much of the time, when you're seeing a shot with a horizon or something far enough off that it appears flat, you're looking at a matte painting. It's just done digitally these days and then blended with other element by a compositor. Waste management. I drive a garbage truck. I start early, but there are days I'm off at noon. A fillet hours for me ends at 1:30 and I work 5 minutes from my house. I'm in the ack all day and left alone. It's wonderful. My waste management truck driver is cool as hell. He drives up and says what's up every day, always enjoying a nice fat cigar. I started to appreciate those moments with cool people more often. Even if it's just a few minutes or a simple what's up. Life can be stressful sometimes, and you have to deal with people that you would like never met. It honestly breaks my fucking heart sometimes when I'm nice to workers and they're surprised about it. I can think of 2 stories off the top of my head. One was at a Taco Bell in the morning. I wanted to order their breakfast. This was around the time it was pretty new, so I was excited to try it. But when I pulled up and start ordering, they start apologizing profusely about how they're out of eggs. I was pretty disappointed, but I was like, oh, alright, I'll just have what I normally order then. I pull up to the window and the manager sends the person taking orders away to talk to me directly and starts thanking me profusely for being nice about it. I wasn't even being nice. Really, I just didn't have a meltdown about it. Then he punched in the senior discount for me, even though I'm very far away from being a senior. Can't imagine the amount of bullshit they dealt with that morning for that to be impactful enough to merit special treatment. The other time was at a Burger King. It was pretty late at night, so no one was in the drive-thru, and they were probably understaffed. I ordered a burger and chicken nuggets. The lady at the window starts apologizing profusely about how they don't have any nuggets and they need to fry new ones, and how it's going to take a while. I was pretty tired and didn't really care, so I just said yay, that's fine, and got comfortable in my car and turned my music back up. She comes back a couple minutes later, again, apologizing profusely and saying it'll only be a few more minutes. Again, just say it's fine and go back to my music. When my food came out, which honestly didn't even fucking take that long, it was less than 10 minutes total wait time. She's apologizing again about how long it took. So I take the bag, look inside, and look her right in the eye and said, dude, you got my order right, and you fried me fresh food, which is gonna be way better than if it was sitting on the rack all night. Thank you. I'll never forget the look on her face as I drove away. I could tell she expected to be berated, or worse, I was going to go home and report her or something. It was like the first time you get to pet an abused dog. Horrifying. It's so fucked up that just basic politeness goes such a long way when you're dealing with people in service. I'm fortunate enough to never have had to work a job like that, but pretty basic empathy going such a long way must mean that most of their encounters are absolutely abysmal. Like I said, breaks my fucking heart. This made me tear up. I hate people. Facilities a glorified janitor. The position has morphed. I started by cleaning floors and toilets. Now so many of my creative strengths are used. We're updating our campus. So we build furniture, construct new walls and stages, choose paint colors, engineer unique solutions for an aging campus, and so much more. I've learned electrical, concrete work, welding, sound engineering, drywall, installation of floors, ceilings, doors, stage backdrops, you name it. If something needs be done, we get it done. I love it. Facilities manager here. You are right about the job morphing. Just remember the facilities motto, the last to know, the first to blame. Been doing it for 30 years. 17 years at GT in Atlanta. I can retire in 8 months. Congrats on the upcoming retirement. Just don't be a hero 2 weeks out from retirement. Marine engineer. I like solving problems. And the moment you figure out how to do something is a golden feeling. What's an example of a project you might work on? I work on power transmission systems. So that's basically everything out of the engine to the propeller. It's fascinating. Every challenge is like a puzzle. And the harder the puzzle, the bigger the reward when it's solved. I'm a meteorologist. I look at weather all around the world and work directly with Fortune 500 companies to help them prepare for natural disasters. Considering I wanted to be a meteorologist since I was 5, it's a dream come true, and I feel blessed. I too dreamed of being a meteorologist as a child up through high school graduation. Everyone that knew me was aware of my passion for weather. However, as I planned to enroll in college, I became aware of the required advanced math classes. Totally tanked me. Couldn't hack the math, so I had to walk away. Joined the medical profession. Lol. Still absolutely love following the weather. I get calls and texts from family/friends throughout storm season. I live in Oklahoma, asking for my thoughts. Kudos for making it. Best wishes and blessings. Yeah, the math and physics weed a lot of people out, unfortunately. Sounds like you found a solid backup plan for your career though. Do you ever storm chase? I actually spent the last 4 summers chasing in the plains, including OK, and it's always a blast. Is storm chasing something people just casually get into? Thought I wanted to be a meteorologist when I was younger, but I probably just wanted to chase storms after watching Twister. Sounds silly, but to this day I'm obsessed with bad weather. I rode out Harvey just east of Houston and it every second was fascinating to me. Yeah, there are a lot of amateurs that do it, but I recommend taking the National Weather Skywarn Spotters training course and learn how to read radar. It can be pretty dangerous. I know from experience, but that's another story, lol. I'd also drop $10 on Radarscope. It'll be your bible. And yo, that's so sick. I've always wanted to ride out a hurricane. I was a college librarian for 21 years up until recently and loved my job. Interacting with students, faculty, technology, having access to any normal article or book, having a sense of helping appreciative people. It was a dream. My commute was 7 minutes. Decent pay, good benefits. I can't do chats. Sorry, my iPad can't handle them. Close bracket. Library assistant here for 7 years working at the welcome desk of a major university library. God, I love that job. It paid maybe $10 an hour and was part-time. But interacting with the patrons and sharing knowledge was so satisfying to me. My favorite part of the job was a student coming in saying, "How do I find a book?" which was a code phrase for "I have no clue what I'm doing. How do I even use the library that I'm paying thousands of dollars for?" And I had my own little 5-minute quick and dirty crash course so that they could be up and running. What I loved was giving them said crash course, and then they'd wander off into the stacks, and from there, they'd get the books they wanted, and maybe even others that were helpful. They'd often stop by and thank me, and by God, that was the best part of the day for me. Especially in the beginning of the semester, when they would drop by and go through, and I knew that I made it so that they didn't need me anymore because they could do it on their own. This story may be a clue that you should be an educator. Edit. This comment was not a slight on librarians or library technicians. It in no way insults the profession or devalues it. This was a comment on the person's joy of watching people research and inquire based on the support they offered. Not every comment on here is diametric. Not all educators are public school teachers. There are all types of teachers/educators out there in every field. And there are endless types of classrooms. Teaching someone who is asking to learn something is fundamentally different than teaching someone who is being forced to learn something. A fact that is well observed, but not necessarily true in higher education. Before the pandemic shut everything down, I was a Broadway dresser. I got to work backstage on some awesome shows with pretty costumes and be a part of the magic. It was such a rewarding feeling. AII fellow stage crew, represent. Crying for our industry RN. It's so sad, and I'm so worried for our art/industry. But we can recover from anything. So we will be back. My warmest hugs to all of you. From Chili 3. I'm a social worker. Currently I work with seniors who live alone with a disability and have no family to take care of them. I plan on getting my master's and becoming a therapist. After working construction for 8 years and getting a degree in business, I said fuck it and followed my passion regardless of what everybody in my life said. I'm so fucking glad that I made that decision. It was really hard to get myself into the mindset that it's not too late. Once I was there though, I wasn't leaving. I put my foot down and was determined. Went to a community college. Got 12 credits. working an entry-level social work job, and will be applying for my master's once this shit show of a pandemic is over. Or maybe when I cave and decide to do online classes. Either way, I feel like I'm living my dream. Even though I'm not nearly where I want to be. Yet edit 1. Wow. I appreciate all of the love so much. I fell asleep after posting this last night, but I promise I will try to respond to everyone once I get some free time today. I was scrolling to see if there was another social worker. I'm doing my master's right now, and I highly recommend it. Good luck and have fun with it. D. I just submitted my application to grad school for social work today. Fingers crossed I get accepted. I'm excited to go further into social services. I work in a homeless shelter. I was homeless like 10 years ago, and it feels good to help the marginalized community I was once a part of. Bless you. I work at a doggy daycare. I left vet teching after 12 years for something less stressful. Edited to @ since this comment has your attention. Can you all please stop naming your dogs the same handful of names? This shit is hard to remember without having multiple Lunas, Lilies, Millies, etc. Thanks. I'll do my best to answer some questions after work tonight. I noticed a lot of the comments have to do with scooping poop. I'm keeping a running tally of how many poops I scooped today. Been at work for 3 hours. And we are already at 44 poops. Interesting. I work in technology, and I was considering becoming a vet tech because I love animals and want to work with them one day. However, I've heard it is stressful. Could you elaborate? I think the part that I didn't realize would be so prevalent in vet teching is dealing with the owners of the pets. When it comes to their pets, mean people get meaner. People like to make you as upset as they are. If they are miserable, you should be too. Sorts are in over a decade. This is actually kind of a weirdly compassionate way of looking at mean people. Freelance illustrator and graphic designer. I've always liked the idea of making things that are useful to people in any way, and I always try to apply this mentality into my work. Not to mention that stimulating my creativity is something I've always enjoyed, and something this line of work requires on a constant basis. Of course, creative blocks are an issue occasionally, but it's still something I truly enjoy. I would have expected more designers on this thread. Getting to create for a living is a blessing. Some days I have to pinch myself that I'm paid to do what I do. There's a lot of pressure in creative jobs. I'm currently a factory worker making sheet metal roofing and siding. It's one of the easiest jobs I've ever had. The work is relatively repetitive, but there's enough variation to keep it from getting boring. The people I work with are kind and funny. Management actually gives a shit about us, and the benefits are fantastic. I love working manual labor. I could never have a desk job. Nice man. I'm a sheet metal worker also. I do architecture although. OHH cool. I'm in the metal industry too. I mix different materials with raw aluminum to make different types of metals that get sent to you guys to make something cool out of it. I work at a Star Trek-y space simulator as an actor and a supervisor. I get to make a room full of people think they're in a spaceship and fight aliens and stuff. I have worked in zoos my entire career, mostly as a zookeeper, and now get to travel and work in conservation. Incredibly gratifying and truly feel I have never worked a day in my life with this career. This is what I wanted to do with my life. Majored in biology, minored in anthropology, focusing on primates, but didn't want to move to the city. Pretty much all zoos are in major cities and things are just more expensive there. What's your education background? How do you get started with it? Try Fort Wayne. The zoo is a great zoo, and the cost of living is low. You can live outside of town and still only have a 30 minutes at the maximum drive to work. I thought about working there but not sure. I'm a medical specialized interpreter, and also general one. I like it that much that I'm mastering 2 other languages at the same time, Italian and French. To be an interpreter, English, Italian, Spanish, French. I work in a hospital and use medical interpreters all the time. Thank you for all you do. A great interpreter makes a huge difference in patient communication. I second this. You guys have the patience of an angel and really are the glue when it comes to hospital/patient communication. Actor in live theater. I fucking love my job. I was recently Squidward in the SpongeBob musical on tour in the US. Corona took that away. I work at a grocery store. I love my coworkers. We are tight. My managers are really helpful and understanding. And I guess I just like working. I've done a lot of volunteering before this, so now that I'm still doing things for others but getting paid, it's pretty wild. Also, my coworkers are so fun. Did I mention them? I'm an epidemiologist. First year out of school. Certainly an interesting first year. And I'd say I probably have some job security right now. Hell of an entrance. Talk about being thrown in the deep end of the pool with no floaties. I'm a loss prevention person at Burlington. All I do is stand at the door, wipe off carts, and say hi and bye to people coming in or out. Easiest job in the world. Most of my coworkers hate me for the job edit. I have conquered the art of being bored. I went through elementary through high school being this bored in a class, so this job was no different for me. So you're the guy who ignores the alarm going off when I walk out. I'm not a thief. I just somehow trigger alarms. Yup. Alarms might go off because of a certain clothing or bag you have on still has a sensor. Happens to a lot of girls with expensive small backpacks or purses. So you're saying it's easiest to steal those items? Yeah. It's against our code to chase or even touch the person trying to steal. All I can do is talk to them. The company's biggest fear is to get sued because of staff trying to be heroes, costing them big loss in money. If you are new to Tattletale TV, please subscribe. We have new videos every day. Stay tuned for more coming up next.